Okay. Got it. I would like to get out of here at 5:15 if we can. If not, that's why I was going to hand the meeting over if possible. I have something I'm supposed to be at 5, but I can be there late. So
Okay,
5:15.
I think we should be able to accomplish that with our agenda.
Awesome. So I'm just going to talk really fast. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to get right into the agenda. How's that?
Perfect.
Go for it.
Full auction style.
All right. Welcome everybody. We do have a special public hearing. This is a second public hearing of the removal of the one-day pass. So I'm going to call this meeting to order. I got to wait 15 seconds. We'll say 4 p.m. Before we get going, I'm going to read our statement here. We meet today on settled indigenous land, which is the traditional territory of the Chinookan peoples of Wasco, Wishram, Warm Springs, and Grand Ronde tribes. Let us honor this land as traditional native stewards, past, present, and future, and strive today to embody a commitment to cultural equity and reconciliation, ecological conservation, and sustainability. I hereby call this meeting to order at 4 p.m. Tia, can you do a roll call, please?
Yes, Greg Pack, Chair.
Hey, I'm here.
Megan Ramey, Vice Chair. Daryl Roberts, Secretary.
Here.
Megan Larrabee. Isela Ayala Ecavera.
Taveria, but yes, I'm here.
Okay. Elazar Reyes. And Tamara Taylor. Here. All right, all yours, Greg.
All right, thank you. We have a public hearing to consider removal of $15 one-day pass as an eligible fare option. I would like to open to public comment if there are any public here. Is there anybody in the room there? Okay.
There's no public.
Since there's no public comment, do we have any other discussions we need to talk about here? I mean, it's public hearing and really for them, we've already discussed it in our other one since it's the second one.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
if the only thing would be if there's any other discussion that board members would like to have.
None on my end. Okay, can I'll entertain a motion to adjourn from the public hearing.
So move.
Thank you, Tamara. Second.
Aye.
I'll second.
Thank you, Gisela. Sorry, Gisela. I'm going to get it right.
Gisela.
Gisela. All right, perfect. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, chair votes aye. We are out of the public hearing. I'd now like to call to order our regular board meeting. I hereby call the meeting at 4:02 p.m. We're actually ahead of schedule. Tia, can you do another roll call, please?
Yes. Greg Pack, Chair.
I'm here.
Megan Ramey, Vice Chair. Here. Daryl Roberts, Secretary.
Here.
Megan Larrabee. Gisela Ayala Ecavera.
Close. Here.
Elazar Reyes. And Tamara Taylor.
Here.
All right.
And Greg, just because we are doing kind of ahead of schedule a little bit, I think I would suggest moving or asking the board to move the financial report in front of the public comment. That way, if anybody does join, we can do the public comment after 4:15, since that's what we have put on our notice.
Okay, good call. Do we need to make a motion to move that, or we just
Yes,
sit with that?
I'll make
Okay.
that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Perfect. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, chair votes aye. We will move our financial report to agenda item number 3, I guess, and move down the approval of the minutes. Is that what you want to do?
Sure,
Okay.
that works.
All right, so do you want to introduce Emily? Is that how we're starting
Yeah.
out?
I would love to introduce Emily. This is Emily Bechtold. She is from Marina and Company. She is the accountant that is on our account. That seems a weird statement to say. But Emily, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Emily. It's nice to have faces with names. Probably vice versa too. I'm sure you've heard about me, but it's nice to meet you all. I've been a CPA now for 5 years, I think, and in public accounting before that too. Yeah, just very excited to meet you all and be helping you with your books.
Thank you for doing it. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, with that, Emily, if you don't mind going into your report, that'd be great.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you all have copies of the report that that Amy sent out partially on my behalf last week. So we'll just jump right into it. The total cash available was about an $83,000 increase over the prior August from 2022 to 2023. Your accounts receivable was at about $11,000, which is a decrease from last year at this time. The majority of those accounts receivable were from the REI, and that totaled $8,600. But I know Tia has been working on making sure that got paid, so that shouldn't be outstanding too much longer. Credit cards, we did still show on your reports an outstanding balance of $4,500 on the KeyBank credit card that actually had been paid off, but we hadn't received the final statement, so we weren't able to reflect that on the books as of the time you guys got that report, but it has since been paid, and we actually did get the statement today. T and I went through and reconciled that. So that is actually not outstanding as of the end of August, even though your report showed it to be. So altogether, that put your ending equity or net position, as it is in governmental accounting, at just over $1 million. So a $71,000 increase from the prior year. So that is it on the balance sheet portion. Does anyone have any questions on that? It's pretty simple and straightforward.
Not on my end.
Okay. Great. Then I will move on to the income statement. So revenue for the 2 months ended August 2023 was $496,000, which is about $21,000 more than last year. The fuel were also more expensive, not that we're surprised by that, having filled up my own car recently. But I know that that was budgeted for. So we're still trending on budget for our fuel costs. Operation expenses were less than last year. Yeah, you guys can read, but it looks like everything is trending on budget for those items. The communication expense was under the amount budgeted, and more than the prior year, but most of that came down to Downtowner app. I know they're working on maybe switching out some different dispatching software. So I think Jeff's going to discuss that with his report. The insurance expense this year looks really low compared to prior years, but that's because in prior years we were doing accrual accounting. So we were expensing it each month instead of just at the time of payment. And so this year, your vehicle insurance won't show any expense until the end of the year, because we usually pay it in June for the following year. So that isn't being reported currently. Your driver expense was just about $2,000 this last year, or for the first 2 months of this year, which is $1,000 more than last year, but just right on budget. So that's looking good. Advertising expense was about $8,000, which is $1,000 over budget. And yeah, I think most of your advertising's decreased from the prior year because of the Gorge Pass partnership. So overall your advertising isn't nearly as much as it used to be, and I believe that's going to continue. Your grant and contract match funds are looking good. It's a little bit of an increase over the prior year, but I think most of that is coming down to some grant reimbursement funds that are still outstanding from the Multnomah Falls Transportation Ambassador Program. And your gross profit was still $371,000, which is a little less than this time last year, and a little less than budget. But again, some of that probably has to do with the matching grants not having been received yet. The administrative expense looks good, about $25,000. There was a typo I noticed in your guys' report. So I said that it was $30,000 more than last year, but it's actually $4,000 to $5,000 more than last year, which was about $30,000 last year, or less than last year, because last year was about $30,000. So excuse that typo. Hopefully, the actual reports show the right figures. So we are both under budget and under last year's expense for the administrative expenses. Your personnel expenses for the end of through the end of August were $215,000, which were a little less than last year and less than the budget. And no capital outlay yet as of this year yet. And yeah, everything's looking really good from my standpoint. So I think that covers those items. I don't know. I might have gone a little fast. I was trying not to take too much time, but does anyone have any questions on those reports?
Financials are important, so take all the time you need. Don't opening statement. Don't worry about that. This is important.
Yeah.
The only thing I have a question is, how are we with the state on reimbursements and funding? Are they up to date or are they still lagging?
They're up to date.
They are up to date.
Yeah,
Okay,
they've been doing fantastic.
good.
We're seeing it, once the reimbursement requests have been submitted, it's been very timely with the funds being received.
We haven't yet received the ones that we just submitted,
Correct.
but we're expecting those in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not months behind like
No.
they were.
Mm,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
I
Awesome.
didn't know.
Oh, go ahead, Emily.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay, finish up.
I was just going to say, I did pull up, I mentioned that we were able to reconcile that outstanding key bank balance for the bank account and that credit card. And so I do have the updated statement. I don't know if you guys care to see it or not, but I have it up on my screen if you want to see.
We believe you.
Okay.
And just to add on as to like why there was delay with that, they were waiting to close all of our accounts until the end of the cycle. And when they closed it, they were gonna process that with any funds that were remaining due to us. So they had to wait until the close of the cycle and then the time to make sure there weren't any lingering charges and whatnot through both the operating and the credit card account, and then issue that check and close it out. So that's what caused the delay with closing that one.
Okay.
And then you guys also, just real quick, I wanted to make sure that you guys had the financials for end of fiscal year 23, just so you could view where we ended the year. Everything that's in here has been handed off to auditor, so unless the auditor makes changes, this will be our fiscal year 23 ending. So I just wanted to make sure you guys had that for your records until the audit.
Is that your audit planning agenda item, Tia?
It is.
Okay.
It is. As you guys know, you received the now I'm gonna forget the name of it, related party questionnaire. I have received almost all of those back, and the ones that I have I've sent to the auditor. That was the last thing that piece of documentation wise that they needed, but they officially started full swing of audit on Monday, so. Okay. All right, any questions?
I just wonder why were the audits going on and Daryl's out of town? You know, that's kind of odd.
I'll be back
All right.
tomorrow.
Okay,
I do have some questions about some of these figures, but I will just maybe contact you separately, Tia, and go over them in the interest of saving time.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Okay.
Just to clarify, Daryl, was that on the July through August report, or are we talking
No,
about
this
the
is
fiscal year 23?
the year 23,
Okay, sounds good.
Daryl, if it's something you want to get out of the way now, I was, by all means, if you want to get, have that conversation, you can. If it's something the board needs to be aware of, but if it's not, later is fine.
I don't think so. I mean, I think I even probably know the answers to some of them.
Okay.
But there were just some things that looked a little, I mean, one of them that maybe you could talk about is direct service wages were 93,000 less than budget, I think it was. Yeah, they're less, or they're 93,000 difference between the actual and the budget, and it was less, but the FICA and the SUTA were more by 25 and 24,000. So that seemed kind of odd to me that you know our wages would be less, but yet the FICA and the SUTA would be more.
So for that, Daryl, I know, I don't know the reason why the FICA and SUTA, I'd have to look into that to see what the cause of that was. I do know that the under budget for the wage is mainly attributed to the change in accounting.
The benefits
Oh.
as well. With how some were getting the stipend versus the actual benefits.
Then
paid,
the
I believe.
medical and changed out and opted out of the insurance and opted to receive the stipend in place. But this year I'm looking through them, and with the change in accounting this year, they do look a little different, and I understand where there would be questions with that. Even just looking through them myself, I had to remind myself that we changed that, and it was kind of a little drastic this year when you're looking at it. But I will look into the tax portion, Daryl, and I can either call you or send you an email, whatever works best.
Sure, just send an email. That's fine.
Awesome, I will do that.
Thank you, Daryl, for the questions. Okay.
Sure.
Well, if there's Emily, thank you very much for joining us. You are free to go. Unless anybody else has any questions for her.
Actually, if she could stay a little bit longer for agenda item 6A. Oh, no, sorry, 6B, that would be wonderful.
Okay, new account stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna revert us back to the minute approval since we missed that. So if I could get us back to the original agenda item 3. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? And are there any changes anybody would like to make?
I have just a minor thing. I don't know if it's important, but my name is spelled the correct way. I'm just like, I'm trying to poke fun at Megan, who's not here. Megan, and there's a couple of times where there's an H in my name, and I don't know. It doesn't.
I will.
It's no big
I'll
deal.
correct that.
Like you don't have
Sorry
to
about
correct
that.
it, but just like maybe future.
We'll correct it.
Okay, cool. All right.
Because it also causes confusion if it's spelled differently in the future, so we'll do
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll make a motion to approve them.
Thank you, Meg Ham. Appreciate that.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving the August 16th minutes, please say aye.
Right.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, chair votes aye. All right, we're now on to agenda item number 4, public comment. Do we have any public here that would like to speak? Not seeing any join the meeting and nobody in person, so we will move on from agenda item number 4. Can we move on to the original agenda item number 6? I'll keep calling it that, even though we bumped things down. Resolution and action items. Amy, please go ahead.
All right, so the first one is the removal of the one-day pass fare as an eligible fare. I have updated the memo that was included in your packets. Was there any, so that the ask is, or I guess the staff recommendation is that we remove the one-day pass as an eligible fare. Are there any questions that board members have after reading the memo that you would like to discuss?
We've had a lot of that discussion already, so. Okay. So do we need a vote to approve? Okay, anybody entertain a motion?
I move to remove the one-day pass as an eligible fare option.
And I'm sorry, just to clarify, we'll make that effective tomorrow, so September 21st.
So, okay, effective September 21st.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of removing the one-day pass, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, chair votes aye. Now on to approval of new account and contingency reserve funds.
Wonderful, thank you. So in your board materials, I've included a memo regarding the different options. So not only did I summarize kind of what the decisions were that were made last meeting, but I've also been looking into the different accounts that exist with different organizations that we could put our reserve and contingency funds in.
Mhm.
I have also re-added the district controlled LGIP fund, as after talking some more with Emily, her strong recommendation is the LGIP fund is where the board would move those reserve and contingency funds into. So meaning we would create our own district controlled LGIP fund. And I'll let her describe a little bit more about why she recommends that. But I did do some research of some different institutions that are eligible. So meaning they're part of the Oregon Public Collateralized Fund. And they have local banks or local branches. And I included a couple of different, like the accounts that we could move the money into and what the interest rates are. That I did find that a large amount, or the interest rates are all a little bit different. They're all money markets. And I wasn't able to really understand how stable that interest rate was. Because when I spoke to them, they said, here's our interest rate, but you know, it's variable. So, and I guess with all of these funds, they're variable to a degree. But what I'm understanding, Emily, is that the LGIP one's just a little bit more stable. But maybe you could talk a little more about that.
Yeah, so the LGIP, is anyone familiar with it? Has anyone worked with another local government and that?
What's it stand for? Emily?
What?
What's it stand for?
Local Government Investment Pool.
Okay.
So it's a state-run investment pool that is a grouping of everyone's, you know, basically the state says, well, we want taxpayers to get the most for their money. So we're going to create our own investment pool to get the best rates of returns in really secure ways. That's what it is.
Okay.
You have to be a local government to participate. Yeah. So because of that, they have very specific rules on what is and is not allowed to be an investment. So it's not it's not collateralized in the same sense as like your dollars that are in the bank are part of the public fund collateralization program that the state runs between banks, because it's not in a bank, it's in the LGIP, it's in like a separate institution. So it's not collateralized like that, but the investments themselves are really safe. So the requirements are that I think Amy included some of the information.
Included the OSTF compliance summary.
Yeah. So each month, the state designates certain rules that they have to follow. You can look them up online. And basically they are required to have 50% of all funds in the LGIP have to mature within 3 months, 93 days. And then 25% have to mature, are not allowed to mature in more than 1 year. And no investments can mature in more than 3 years. So they were all very, very short-term investments. And they have security ratings. So they can only invest in things that are, like US Treasury bonds or US securities, or corporate bonds that are rated, in the A's. They can't have any subpar bonds. And then each month they issue a report saying that they're in compliance with those standards. So you can look that up every month and make sure that they're remaining in the standards that they said they would. And then every quarter they issue their quarterly report that shows the top 10 issuers, the total months of maturity breakdown by month, what their interest rates were, what their book yield was. You can look at all of their information, and it's actually very, very transparent compared to a lot of other places that I've seen. And because of that, it's also very secure. So I know you guys were initially very nervous when you heard it wasn't actually collateralized, in the sense that like the bank funds are collateralized, but I think it is about as secure as you can get, with the stipulations required by the state. So for what it's worth, I just thought I would speak to that.
Emily, are there other clients you have that use the LGIP?
Every client I have uses the LGIP. You're literally the only one I think that I've run across that didn't have their own LGIP account yet.
Okay, that tells me something.
And then also
We're
for
special.
some additional information, yeah. Columbia Economic Development District, so MCED, that we work with a lot, they also have an LGIP. Actually, they have 4. I think 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that they're very like everyone has an LGIP account. So that's where, yeah, they're like even your funds, right, that are currently held at the county, those are actually in an LGIP account already. So the difference being the county is passing on some of that interest rate to you, but I'm not sure if you're getting the full interest or not. It's hard to tell just because they post it to your account. You're not actually getting to see their statement and whether you're getting the interest rates. And those rates do change. So just to say that, I know Amy was talking about the fluctuation with rates. So money markets are going to fluctuate all the time, right? Money market rates fluctuate perpetually. The LGIP rate does fluctuate also based on their underlying investments, but it doesn't fluctuate as often. And it tends to, because they're short-term investments, they tend to follow the rest of the trend. So money markets will have a slightly higher rate sometimes than the LGIP, and then the LGIP will like follow and end up higher after the money markets drop, just because they are, usually three month-ish terms for most of their investments.
Makes sense.
So the current rate is like 4.5%. They adjust it just when rates go crazy. So let's see, you can look up their last investments. Is this helpful information?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me see what their last monthly rate was. I know it's 4.5 right now, but I think it was 4.3 before that, and that stayed steady for a month or two. With the crazy change in interest rates the last 6 months or to a year, they've changed the rates a lot, but typically they stay stable for several months to many months. There were some years I would audit and it would be the same LGIP rate for like 6 months of the year. So they're they're fairly stable compared to a lot of short-term rates.
Do any of the board members have questions on the different options?
Sorry, I have one more thing. They just
Oh.
changed their rate as of the 19th, so it's now 4.8%. It was 4.5 in the middle of August.
That sounds better. Because treasury bonds are like at 5 something, right? Okay. Not hearing any questions on the other options is.
I just want to
let's
make
move-
sure, Daryl, did you have any questions? Just because you're remote, oh, you're on mute.
No, I don't, sorry.
So does a board member want to recommend an option to vote on? Like maybe option 4, maybe?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to recommend option 4.
Thank you, Megan.
LVIP account.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Daryl, thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of option 4, please say aye.
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 Okay, any opposed? Chair votes aye. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emily. If you would like to go, you can go now, or if you'd like to join us for the rest of the meeting, you can also do that.
Now
Okay.
she had her chance, now she has to stay.
I really appreciate your time. Thank you all. Do you have any further questions for me before I step off?
Thanks, Emily.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
thank you.
Emily.
Thanks.
Thank you for getting here, Amy. I think it was great to put a face to a name, and well, I guess we'll see her quarterly.
Do
Okay.
that.
All right, on to old agenda item number 7, operations report. Jeff, floor is
That's
yours.
me. Cool. We'll start with employee of the month. We picked Michael Kirby. He's a field supervisor here at CAT. I think
Oh, cool.
just wanted to acknowledge his growth in the company, starting as just not very
That's
nice,
him?
but
Yes.
yeah.
that
He
is
looks
him.
like you.
He looks like, yeah, people mix us up all the time when we used to drive. He started here as a chainer, and from there he got a CDL, became a driver, field supervisor. And I'd say in the last maybe 6 months or so, he's really found his place in the company, and kind of gained a lot of confidence, and has become a really valuable asset to us, or a person. Yeah, so I just thought we should acknowledge him. And I'm happy that we can expand our employee of the month to our field supervisors, because they do a lot of really good work for us. So
And thank you for including pictures.
Mhm.
yeah,
Moving forward, we'll
Yeah.
try to make sure that's actually in the packet.
Oh.
I was a little late on tracking
That's
one
okay.
down. Okay, so for the overall operations report, our safety score went down a little bit, mainly due to speeding and harsh events. Harsh events are similar to what they were last month. They were really low, but it's similar to what they were previous to that. As far as the speeding, it went up a little bit, and we did have a discussion with the supervisors that to just make sure we're doing more speed checks and responding to drivers when they are going over the speed limit. For the operations data, we still don't have the on-time performance. That's supposed to we're supposed to see that, I think it says on here next October, but I'll talk about that more in the dispatching report. Hours driven was 1,389, miles driven 47,097, fuel cost 21,660. It's about 46 cents a mile. Fuel cost of fuel, it's either cost of fuel went up, or I know there's a few days at the Carson station was down and we weren't able to use the Carson pump, so that can be a little bit more expensive. We had 2 vehicle incidents. One was going across the Hood River Bridge. One of our buses hit mirrors with another vehicle. We left a report with, or the driver left a report with the bridge toll, I don't know what's the collector, that's what they're called. And the other vehicle never turned around or did anything, so there was no follow-up for that person. The other incident was a vehicle drove over a piece of wood that had nails in it and took it to Point S and got that repaired. You know, it happens often. We get the flat tires. Okay, ridership report. I think overall ridership was up from last month and last year. Cascade Locks was up, and I think that was due to the PCT festival. So there's a lot, just like July, there were a lot of PCT hikers. But this was the actual festival, so I think it was like the final push for that. There's a slight increase in overall hours. I think that was due to there weren't very many holidays, as the month before, so we were running full service more days. And same with the boarding per hours was pretty consistent with the rest of the summer. But you'll see the increase in Cascade Locks and there was an increase in white salmon, which was high, and I forgot to look. I wanted to see if it was when it was Huckleberry Fest. I know we had a bunch of riders, and I don't remember if that was August or early September. Do you?
It was early September. So it was
Okay,
after.
so that's not why. I actually I don't know why it was increased then. But I can look into that if you guys want to know specifically why.
Jeff,
Yeah.
Jeff, on that, the boardings per hour, it seems like the all routes is totaling all and not averaging like the other months.
Yep, did the math wrong.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
In that 1-day Viento thing.
Yeah, so I have
Okay.
Viento. So the Viento day, there was only 6 total for pickups there. We only have pickup data for pickups, so I actually don't know if we could have picked up a bunch of people at Cat and dropped a lot of people off or wherever Cascade Locks, and depending on if they were doing like a downwinder or whatever, whichever way they're going, we don't have the ability to track drop offs with our rider sheets, and we did not have Viento on our software because it's not a normal stop. But overall, we had about 83 riders on Columbia Gorge Express, which for the whole day, which is pretty average for a Saturday in the summer. Dispatch.
Sorry, before
Yes.
we move on from that. I am speaking with ODOT, we're speaking with ODOT on what would be the possibility of potentially add Viento as a stop. So I'll keep you guys updated, but that is something that we're exploring with ODOT.
And Mitchell, when it opens?
Hopefully with Mitchell as well.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That one I've heard mixed reports on that, and that one's gonna need transit service.
Just because the parking lot size.
Yeah, it's just gonna be a major destination. So, but, yeah,
We're talking to Tara.
okay, cool.
It's
So-
on her radar.
Just to be clear, because I think we're talking about the expansion of the trail or,
Well, what just opened up is just 2 miles,
Right.
From Viento, but this spring, they're gonna open the tunnel.
okay.
Which will connect the 2 miles of trail over to like the Mitchell Road, but it's still like the road, it's still the trail to nowhere until the final 5 miles opens up to Hood River.
Okay,
But people, that's still gonna be an amazing way to bypass interstate biking for people.
And we're just hoping in general to be able to serve kind of key spots along the old Columbia Highway that also has recreational activities that are easy for us to serve. So meaning it can be a quick drop off or pickup.
would that be for summer months only, or is that accessible during the winter?
We still gotta do some more research, but I think
Okay.
in theory, year round
Oh,
makes
okay.
no sense, but it might be just a summer thing. We need to do some more research on that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
The Viento stops are fine. I mean, like, you don't need to pull into the parking lot and do all that, but it made it really fast to get on and off the interstate. So, and I don't mind walking.
yeah, that's our hope. If we can make it work with ODOT,
Yeah.
if we can meet their regulations and their requirements. The idea would be to just exit the off ramp and drop people off or pick them up and then vice versa the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Sorry to interrupt.
No, no worries. Dispatch technology update. So we've been talking about downtowner. We shifted all of our, we had all of our fixed routes that moved over to downtowner, and after using it and for a while, I think we're deciding that we're gonna have a conversation with them, hopefully next week. And this, we moved back to Unite this weekend, the old program. We're realizing that the cost increase for the program is not providing enough value to outweigh how cheap Unite really is. And it just seems like the program isn't completely built that they're told us that they don't have. So anyways, we're moving away from downtowner, and we're gonna start using Unite again and start looking into other programs that are a little more complete.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff. All right, if there's no other questions for Jeff, Amy, you want to go on with agenda item 8, your director report?
Yes, so first item is the Multnomah Falls Exit 31 time use permit update. So this is for informational purposes only. The time use permit program has concluded, that ended on September 4th. And has been seen as a success. It went smoother than it has in previous years. And on the Columbia Gorge Express, we saw that the ridership did increase. I'm not sure if I can necessarily attribute it to the time use permit program, but it did increase. I think the interesting thing that I saw was that when you compare, and Jeff spoke about it a little bit, but if you compare the July 2022 ridership with the July 2023 ridership, the July 2023 ridership was much higher and very much on par with August. Whereas in 2022, there was just there was more steps. And in 2023, June was smaller, and then it went July and then August. So July and August were pretty on par with each other. So that was the interesting thing that I saw from that. And for the second item on there is the upcoming compliance audit. As I mentioned last board meeting, next Monday and Tuesday, we are having a compliance review with ODOT's consultant RLS. So the team has been very diligent to make sure we have compiled all the requested documentation for that. And that'll be a very full Monday and Tuesday of next week of working with the consultants and going through the review. And once we get all of those findings, we'll make sure to pass it on to you, the board. For the board member update agenda item, this is an informational update, but also I do need your help. So I have received word, unfortunately, that Daryl is going to be moving and therefore leaving the board. I'm very sad to hear this, and I appreciate everything that Daryl has done with the financials, but also just in general being a very active board member. So thank you, Daryl, for all that you have done. We are expecting his last board meeting to be October. Is that correct, Daryl?
Well,
Mhm.
actually, the latest update is I might be around longer than that.
Okay,
cool.
all right, well, keep me in the loop and then that's great. The ask remains the same though for the board. If you could start putting your feelers out through your network or just someone who you think would be a great asset to the district. And then we'll start making those applications for a board or an interim board member be available. And then I'll be asking for candidates to be submitting that application, and I will give those to the board either October or November, depending on what's most appropriate.
Yeah, and if you find somebody, I will happily step aside and let them take over.
Okay, all right, so it sounds like we'll start putting out those applications, and if you guys hear of anyone, please send them my way. I can also just send you the application as well, and you can just send it to your people.
And then
I don't
any
know how
current board members who may be interested in, becoming the treasurer or stepping into that role, be great to hear
Yeah.
from you.
That's what I was about to say. I don't know how we're gonna fill
Oh,
the whole of the Inspector Gadget.
I'm sure you'll find some other equally.
We'll need 6 months training.
So yeah, you
Thank
can't.
you.
So yes, so please think if you would like to if you have interest in stepping in the secretary treasurer role. When Daryl steps down, we will also hold another election to fill that role as well.
Do they have to live in Hood River County?
They do.
Yes, sir.
Some of our other committees, or not some of our other committees, are a little bit more variable. They just have to be a user of the service or a representative of the service. But to be a board member, you actually do need to live in Hood River County.
I've been sweating that all summer, so yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, any questions on that? Okay, all right, so the next one is the Gorge Pass update. Again, this is for informational purposes only. We have worked with Skamania County, the Link, and MATS to adjust the dates of the Gorge Pass. So previously, the Gorge Pass was calendar year only. So it was from January 1st to December 31st, no matter when you purchased the pass. We have now updated our contract as well as purchased new cards itself, so that we can now do 365 days from when the pass is purchased.
Oh, cool.
So you will see these new passes that came out. We were actually we needed new ones anyways, so it kind of was perfect timing. This also gives someone a reason to still purchase the pass throughout the year. Because what we were seeing is there was a trend of come summer, people would stop buying the pass because it was getting closer to the end of the calendar year. So it has been received quite well. And it's very similar for our staff when distributing the passes. The only difference is instead of just receiving this, staff will put a mark in the month so that we know when it expires.
Along those lines, I've gotten a couple questions from parents on, the middle school or the Hood River Middle School didn't have registration, so the kids didn't receive passes.
We're at all the open houses this year.
Okay, cool.
So we were
that's
just
coming
at
up tomorrow night.
Yes.
Yes.
So we will be there.
Cool.
And we were at the high school, and we're also gonna be, so yeah, both middle schools.
Nice.
Yeah.
They, very much it's like a whoopee now, for some kids, and that's really cool to see,
Yes.
them relying on it.
Yeah. And Sarah, the travel trainer, is also working with a couple of teachers at the high school too this year.
Okay, wonderful.
So we will have more prevalence.
Yay.
Yeah. Any questions about that before I move on? Okay, cool. And the next thing is with the Gorge Pass update, not only have we updated our cards, but I am working with the Gorge Pass marketing consultant to see how we can increase efficiencies with the marketing. So currently, staff here in the office will do social media updates as well as newsletters and other marketing related activities. I've been working with Emily to figure out how they can take on some of those responsibilities while it still is within the scope of their grant and their work or their contract. I think that just makes a lot of sense, as that is, that's her skill set and expertise. There might be some additional funds that we might have to pay for additional like cat specific marketing. But I'll keep you guys updated on that. Okay. And then along with that, so I have an organization update, again, for informational purposes only. We recently had an operations assistant leave the organization. The operations assistant role was kind of a pilot to kind of figure out how many operations folks we needed in the office. Since he left, we have decided that it would be more useful to have a full-time admin assistant. Right now we have a dispatcher / admin assistant, and we think it really makes sense to break out those roles and to have admin assistant that can help Tia and myself, and then a dispatcher that can really focus solely on dispatch work and help the operations team. So in your board meeting materials, I included a chart that just kind of outlines that change. There's no staffing level change. It's all within the budget. This is simple, kind of just changing it from here to over here. Change. Any questions with that?
Pat, does this affect Jeff most?
Everybody,
Okay,
because I think they have a lot of work and they need help, and then
okay,
working with Becca will be more focused on dispatch related things, so it actually benefits
okay,
us as well. Yeah.
all right.
All right. And that is all that I had for my update.
All right,
Thanks for thinking of me though.
Yeah.
thank you, Amy. Appreciate it. We're on to agenda item number 9. Any discussion items the board would like to throw out there?
Just a really quick one. I don't know if anybody knows the sense of place lecture. What is our policy on advertising? Because the sense of place lecture seems like a really good fit, and they reached out to me like they say they've been trying to get us to sponsor them for years, and I was like, I don't know about that, but
I'm not sure I remember that.
we can talk like offline, but I had no idea what our advertising.
Gorge Pass has a little bit more flexibility, and I would probably think it would be more applicable to kind of send them Emily's way.
Okay,
But let's chat a little bit
okay.
about it.
Okay. Any other discussion items? Upcoming events, item number 10.
I don't think we have any. Oh,
Okay.
just the compliance review that's happening next week. That's really the only big item on our horizon.
All right.
In open houses.
Oh, open houses. Yes,
Yes.
thank you. Those two.
I'm excited for this.
Yes, I think this will be a much better process this year.
There's also the Fiesta Cultural at One Community Health. Are you guys attending that one?
Yes, we are.
Okay, nice, awesome. I'll see you there then.
And thank you for sending the food pantry things my way. That's
Oh
great.
yeah, no problem. Yeah.
All right, great to hear. Okay, agenda item number 11 is adjournment. Anybody want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Megan.
Second.
All right, Amber, thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Any opposed? Okay, chair votes aye. Thank you, everybody, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Speeding
Thank
this.
you.